Hello everyone, my name is Clovery, and today we are going to be talking about growing up and figuring out who you are. So obviously, as any person, I have gone through multiple phases in my life. I have gone through phases of friends, phases of hobbies, and phases of work, and pretty much anything you could ever imagine, honestly. And one thing I have come to learn is that things are not always going to stay the same. Now, for me, this is kind of a harder topic. I am not a huge fan of change. I am not the type of person to easily adapt to certain situations, at least not in the past. And I always find myself kind of being held back by what once was, or things that I had at some point. And that, for myself, has always been a bit of a challenge for growing up and moving along with life. And honestly, I just wanted to be real today and talk about it. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. I'm also looking for some foxes in our forever world. So we're kind of getting a 2-in-1 done. Now, the first topic I kind of want to talk about is people. I feel like this is probably the biggest one. Most people are not gonna stay in your life forever. There's people who you think will and end up not, and it's crazy to me, and it's always been something that I have struggled with. I don't take friendship breakups or relationship breakups or parting ways lightly. I am very much a people person. I really just care about the people who are close to me, regardless of what I have been through. And so that's kind of always been a challenge for me, growing up and having to let people go and maybe not necessarily being ready to do that. And that has just been something that I struggle with even to this day. Now, do I have a solution for it? No. But that's not what today's video is about. I kind of just want to talk about these things and see if anyone can relate. I have had multiple friendships in the past where we didn't always end on the best terms, whether it was on my part or their part. And usually in those situations, it's a little bit of both. And I always find myself, despite how our actual relationship looked, missing it and wanting certain parts of it back, even if it wasn't a healthy relationship. And I'm sure a lot of other people really struggle with that. And then you have the aspects of nostalgia kind of painting over and making a situation seem better than it actually was. And for me, that's always been something I have really struggled with. In particular, I had these one certain group of friends that I have pretty much had my whole life, and things were not always perfect in the relationship. I know there were times where I was very unhappy and times where I felt at my lowest. And honestly, I didn't really think in the moment that it was directly because of them. But now that it's been... Sorry everyone, I was interrupted by a work call, but anyways, I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but I'll kind of just pick up off where I can remember. Essentially, I was friends with these people for a very long time, and there were good and there were bad moments, but essentially, in the end, I had to do what was best for me, and that was to ultimately cut these people off and stop talking to them. Now, this was a very hard decision for me, and I don't even know to this day if it was the best decision, but I just know that at the time I was dealing with a multitude of things at once, and honestly, being in a friendship with them just wasn't helping. Now, I don't know if maybe I could have handled the situation better. Maybe there were things that I should or shouldn't have said, but that is now all in the past, and there's nothing I can do about it now. But I do think about it quite often, and I wonder if I did make the right decision. There are days where I feel very alone, or like I don't have the support system I had at one point. And in moments like that, it makes me question if I really made the right choice. But at the end of the day, I ultimately just miss the relationship that we had when things were at such a good level. Of course, there's highs and lows to every friendship, and that friendship went through both highs and lows. And I feel like looking back at it, I really only think about the good parts. And honestly, my brain kind of blocks out all of the bad things that I guess I was trying to forget. So now that it's been a couple of years, and maybe my memory isn't as good and the information isn't as fresh as it was, I do miss the good parts of that relationship. And it's hard because I knew a certain group of people for a very long time, most of my life. And the transition from having that very close bond to not having that with really anybody, or at least not that same bond. It's a difficult feeling for sure, and still something I'm trying to navigate to this day. But whether it's a friendship or an actual relationship, things and people are always going to come and go, and that's honestly the unfortunate part of life. Another one that really hits home is animals and pets. I know maybe not everybody relates to this, but for me, animals play a really big role in my life. I have always been very connected to my pets, and honestly, my relationship with them is one of my most important relationships, and always has been. And what truly makes me sad is that pets honestly don't have very long lifespans. I mean, you get 10 to 15 years with them, and for me, that's honestly not enough. As I've gotten older, I've unfortunately lost a couple of my childhood pets, and those were probably some of the hardest losses I've ever gone through. And I guess if you've never had an animal or a pet, you wouldn't understand how impactful it can be and how impactful it is. Also, these two baby villagers are very cute. Anyways, you might not understand how impactful that truly can be. And with the recent year that I've had, I have lost friends and pets and anything you could ever imagine. And it hasn't been the easiest. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And so, That's why I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about it, because I know I'm not the only person that goes through difficult times. I know there's people who have, worse months than I do, or worse years. Oh my gosh, wait. This fox is so cute. Okay, let's take him home. Anywho, getting off topic per usual. But yeah, I know sometimes it's nice to just know you're not alone. And I have a lot of resources and people in my life, thankfully, that make me not feel alone. But I know not everybody has that. So sometimes it's nice to hear from another person that you're going through a similar situation. Or maybe, you're just bored and you clicked on my video and you just want to hear me yap. And honestly, that's great too, because I do love a good yap sesh. Oh no. Wait, where did the rope go? Wait, hold on guys, am I going crazy or did it just disappear? Okay, well, we might have to go get another one. Oh no, he has it in his mouth. Wait, take this instead. Where did he go? Oh my goodness, take this instead. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know foxes could do this. Let's go find a rabbit maybe that we can... or a chicken. Chickens work too. Anywho. But yeah, it's always been hard losing an animal or a pet. And I know that's something that a lot of people could relate to. Now, I also want to talk about growth and learning who you are. And sometimes, losing certain people or certain friends or relationships actually build you and grow you as a person. And as sad as it is, I think everything happens for a reason. And it's definitely a hard truth to think about. But I think that's the best outlook of things, You're gonna go through hardships in life. Unfortunately, everybody does. And honestly, as hard as they are, they do help you grow. And oh my gosh. What an evil dog. That was just horrible, I'm sorry. Wait, why do the dogs not like the foxes? Okay, now we have to go find another one. Anywho, as hard as that might be, it's just part of life. And honestly, growth, I think, is a beautiful thing. And life really just is the mindset that you make it. And I guess it's not always easy, My challenges probably seem so small compared to somebody else's. But I think we're all different people and we all are affected by things in a different way. And honestly, learning who you are and finding out who you are is something else that I think is really truly amazing. For myself, having to let go of certain friendships led me to being who I truly am and doing what makes me happy and not what makes my friends happy. I know one of those things was actually my channel and playing video games. It was something that my friends weren't the biggest enjoyer of, and it was something that I had always really quite enjoyed. But in my time of being their friend, it was something I definitely did less of. I remember I even had a phase where I didn't even play Minecraft for like 2 or 3 years, which is crazy to think. Because now I literally post about it and I play it multiple times a week, every day. But I just think that it's just really important to do what makes you happy. And if there's people in your life that are hating on that, then it's okay to let them go. Because you want to do what's right for you in the end and what's best for you. And sometimes you have to make hard decisions. Now, it can be very conflicting, deciding, what makes you truly happy. And for me, who I am a people person, it was hard for me to choose between my friends and myself. And again, I don't even know if I took the right approach. I'm sure I could have kept both, but I think in these last couple years of what I call isolation, I have truly learned a lot about myself. There's other hobbies that I enjoy that I now get to do that maybe I didn't get to do it before, or people that I get to hang out with more that I couldn't have in the past. And that is amazing. Oh my gosh, this fox. Come back here. Oh my gosh, he's murdering all the chickens. Come on, fox. Anyways, back on topic for probably the millionth time. But as we grow up and change in life, so do our friends, and so do the people around us. And sometimes the person that you thought someone once was isn't them anymore, and that's okay. I, in particular, had a couple of friendships where I felt as though we were almost the same person. We had a lot in common, and it was just really easy for us to get along. But a couple of those friends had branched off and I guess found out who they truly were, and that made me realize that they weren't the person that I thought they were. And that's okay, because as I grow up and find out who I am, they are going to do the same, and that's okay. But I just came to realize that it wasn't the best influence for myself. I like to keep my circle small. I'm not the biggest person for going out. I much rather prefer staying in and, watching a movie or TV or playing some video games and door dashing food or hanging out with my family and just relaxing. And maybe for the other people in my life, they were more into going out and making lots of friends and being super social. And I just came to find that that wasn't really for me. And it's definitely hard because these people and I, like I said before, we were once the same person. And it feels like, I kind of stayed the same, but maybe these people didn't. And I ultimately just learned that I like being alone. I like being independent. And that's something that has really stuck with me. I really like my night routine, and I really like watching TV before I go to bed and doing my 50-step self-care routine. That makes it hard to go over to people's houses and stay late or stay the night. And I guess that could be something on me. I could learn to adapt. And that is something that you kind of have to learn with life, but I don't know. I'm still learning. I've just wanted to yap about some random topics because it's fun and it's relatable. But yeah, I am still learning about changing and going through life and all of the amazing and scary changes that might bring. And I know a lot of people in my community are in a similar age range to me, probably within 10 years or so. So I'd say we're all relating on a similar level, or at least if you can't relate to what I'm saying in the moment, maybe you did in the past, or maybe you will in the future. You never know what is in store for you. Okay, I'm also desperately trying to get home with our fox. But yeah, I guess my takeaway from this is that change is hard, but it is a part of life and something we all have to go through, whether we learn to adapt to it or not. For me, change is always a shock. Even when I know something is coming, it's still hard to actually deal with. I remember as a kid, my parents I'd go to school and I'd come home from school and my parents would change the color of the blinds, and I would get so upset because I didn't like the change. I liked how it was before and I didn't understand why it needed to be changed. And that just goes to show that I've never been a huge person for my routine being messed up or things coming along. But I've also learned that change can also be very beautiful. And after you've gone through the situation and you have the time to finally sit back and think about how far you've come, I think that's the part that is truly amazing. And so, I guess my takeaway from this entire video is that getting older and starting your life and things changing is never gonna be easy. It never was easy, and it probably never will be easy. It's something a lot of us go through, and it's totally normal to not know what you're doing in life or not know what is going on. But the important part is learning from your experiences and growing as a person. And I think whether you realize it or not, it is happening in your life. And that is where I'm going to conclude this video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching and supporting. I hope that I reached at least somebody and that maybe you could relate to this. And if you did make it this far, then I encourage you to subscribe because there are tons more of these types of videos coming out in the future, and I just love yapping. But anyways, guys, I won't keep you for too much longer. I hope everyone has an amazing day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, you guys.